We often hear Catholics say, "What difference does it make whether God used billions of years of evolutionary processes to evolve the bodies of the first human beings or created them by fiat, that is, by willing them into existence, body and soul, a few thousand years ago, as long as we believe that God did it?" To answer this question, let us begin with an analogy. Imagine that John Doe is a billionaire who is running for mayor of your city. You're listening to a discussion among three of your neighbors. Neighbor number one says, "John Doe is a great candidate. He made $1 billion by running an honest, successful business. He can run this city successfully using the same business know-how." Neighbor number two says, "John Doe didn't make $1 billion running an honest business. He made most of his money by trafficking in illegal drugs." Then, neighbor number three says, "What difference does it make if John Doe made his money in an honest business or by drug trafficking, as long as we know that he really made $1 billion?" Would anyone in his right mind agree with neighbor number three? No one in his right mind would agree with neighbor number three, because how John Doe made his money reflects his character. If he made his money through honest business dealings, that reveals a good character. If he made his money through drug trafficking, that reveals an evil character. So how John Doe made his money makes a huge difference for anyone who wants to understand his true character. In his book, the Summa contra Gentiles, St. Thomas Aquinas says the same thing about God. The way that God created the world reveals God's character. A wrong understanding of the way that God created the world reflects a false understanding of God. So, what do we know about the character of God? One thing we know is that the character of God does not change. As he was in the beginning, he is, and ever shall be. In other words, the character that God displayed in creation must be the same as the character that he displayed when he walked the earth as our Redeemer, which must be the same as the character that he displays through his sacraments and through the members of his mystical body, the Church, when he acts through them. In the Nicene Creed, a statement of belief that is used by Christians all over the world, the first word that is used to describe God is Almighty. I believe in one God, the Father, Almighty. When Jesus walked the earth, he showed himself to be Almighty. He spoke, and what he willed happened right away. The dead came back to life. The blind received their sight. The wind and the sea obeyed him immediately. When Jesus works through the sacraments, he also shows himself to be Almighty. When a priest says the words of Jesus over the host at Holy Mass, "This is my body," the bread is instantly changed into the body of Christ. When Jesus created the heavens and the earth and the seas and all they contain, he showed himself to be Almighty. He spoke, and it was made. He commanded, and it stood forth. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He said, "Let the waters teem with life," and they did. He said, "Let us make man," and he created Adam. Any idea about how God created must be consistent with his character, and especially with God's almighty power, his omnipotence. So, is molecules to man evolution consistent with God's character? Would an omnipotent God use a process involving hundreds of millions of years of death, deformity, disease, and struggle for existence to produce the first human beings? Would an omnipotent God create one kind of creature only to destroy it in the process of making a better one? Would an omnipotent God drown millions of animals in mud all over the earth as part of his way of creating the first human beings? Would an omnipotent God use death to produce the forms of life he wanted to create? The Book of Wisdom answers all of these questions very simply. It tells us, God made not death, neither hath he pleasure in the destruction of the living, for he created all things that they might be. The true God of creation is the God of life and of love. The God of evolution is an idol, a demonic idol of death and destruction. Which one will you allow to be introduced to your children and grandchildren as the true God? Which one are you going to serve?